I was home alone that night. It wasn't unusual. I had lived alone for years, and I never minded the quiet. The apartment was small but comfortable, the 10th floor of a building where no one really knew their neighbors. The walls were thin, but that night the entire building felt silent, as if it had been swallowed by something unseen. I was on the couch, half watching some late-night infomercial, too lazy to turn it off, but not really paying attention. The glow of the screen flickered across the dark room, the only source of light besides the faint hum of the city outside my window. Then the phone rang. It startled me, not because it was late, but because of the number flashing on the screen, unknown caller. I hesitated before answering. Hello? Silence. For a second, I thought the call had dropped. I was about to hang up when I heard it. A whisper. I see you. I froze. The voice was distant, like someone speaking from the other end of a long hallway. It was barely more than breath against the receiver, but it was there. I glanced around my apartment, suddenly feeling exposed. The TV flickered again, casting strange, shifting shadows along the walls. My throat was dry. "Who is this?" I asked, forcing my voice to stay steady. Silence. I hung up. The air in the apartment felt different now, heavier, as if something unseen had pressed itself into the space with me. I shook it off, telling myself it was just a prank. Then the phone rang again. Same number. Unknown. I stared at it for a long moment before declining the call. Almost immediately, a notification popped up. One new voicemail. I pressed play. At first, there was only static. Faint, crackling white noise. Then, breathing. Slow. Deep. Right against the speaker. And then, my own voice. "Tommy, what mixture are you? Why aren't you answering?" I felt my stomach drop. I hadn't said that. I hadn't recorded that. I hadn't spoken those words. My hands trembled as I set the phone down. I turned off the screen, placing it face down on the table, and exhaled shakily. My heartbeat pounded in my ears. It had to be a prank, some kind of voice recording app, someone messing with me. Then my house phone rang. I stared at it, my breath caught in my throat. The landline, the one no one ever called. The sound of it ringing felt unnatural, wrong. Ring, ring, ring. It echoed through the apartment like something alive, waiting. I stepped forward, every part of me screaming not to pick it up, but I did. Silence. Then, a knock at the door. A loud 3-knock rhythm, slow and deliberate. My pulse spiked. I turned, staring at the door. I live on the 10th floor. There is no balcony, no fire escape, no way for someone to be standing outside my door at this hour. The phone was still pressed against my ear. Then the voice spoke again, low and distorted, almost amused. "You left the window open." I dropped the phone. My bedroom door creaked open behind me. The air turned ice cold. I turned slowly. The hallway to my bedroom was dark, the only light coming from the glow of the city outside. The shadows seemed deeper, stretching unnaturally across the floor. I swallowed hard, forcing myself to breathe. I hadn't left my window open, had I? I took a slow step forward, my bare feet barely making a sound against the wooden floor. My breath felt too loud, my heartbeat deafening. The door to my bedroom was open just a crack, a thin sliver of darkness beyond it. I reached out with a shaking hand and pushed the door open. The window was open. The curtains fluttered slightly, caught in a breeze that shouldn't be there. And then I saw it. A shape in the window. Not outside, inside. Standing against the glass, facing me. A tall, thin figure. No features. No eyes. Just a blank face pressed against the glass. Its head tilting slightly, as if it were studying me. Then, slowly, its mouth opened. Not like a person's. Too wide, too deep. A void stretching open without sound. I stumbled back, my body reacting before my mind could catch up. I hit the door frame, my breath caught in my throat. My phone was still on the table in the other room. I needed to call someone. Then, the lights went out. Complete, suffocating darkness. The only sound was the wind through the open window, and the whisper, "Let me in." I ran. I don't know how I made it to the door, my hands fumbling with the lock, my body shaking so violently I could barely grip the handle. I wrenched it open, expecting to find nothing but empty air. But the hallway was there, and it was wrong. It was longer than it should have been. The walls stretched into the distance, doors lining either side that hadn't been there before. The lights flickered, casting long, shifting shadows. And at the far end of the hall, a figure stood, tall, still, waiting, its blank face turned toward me. The whispers surrounded me, coming from all directions, filling the air, pressing against my skin. "You let me in." I ran. I don't remember getting to the stairwell. I don't remember running down 10 flights of stairs, bursting out into the night, gasping for breath. But I must have, because I woke up in my car the next morning, parked miles away from my apartment, my phone in the passenger seat with no call history from the night before. I didn't go back. I left everything behind. But I still hear it. The whisper, the knock, the voice on the other end of the line. I don't answer anymore. But it doesn't matter, because it knows where to find me.